start, I'm going to do this with mostly no equipment. You can do it with equipment if you want. I'm trying to keep this for right now just as easy as possible for people to do if they don't have any weights or anything. So yeah, like I'm going to do the lateral raises with bands, but if you don't have bands, you can use rice bags or weights if you have them, like really whatever you have. So I'm gonna warm up doing some jump rope just because I have it. Most people probably have one. If you don't, you can do like high knees or jumping jacks, whatever it is that you might happen to enjoy or be alright at. I like skipping. I'm not great at it, and I might not have enough room, but we're gonna work with what we got here. So for the push-ups, I'm not putting a particular rep count on it. Not everybody can do 5, 10, 15, whatever. It's equally effective as many as you're able to do properly. Pretty close to failure, meaning you can't physically push out very many more. We'll see where I can get right now. Good enough for me. So for the lateral raises, I have a band. If you have a band, you can use this. You can use a heavy bag of rice, whatever it is you have, some cans and a shopping bag. It's the end of the world. We do what we can, right? But if you do have a resistance band, if you need to make it heavier or easier, just step closer to where the handle is. That'll be more resistance. If you need less resistance, give it more slack. Usually these have weights on them. When you buy them, it'll say like 15 pounds to 50 pounds, depending on the resistance that you choose. It's fairly accurate, I guess. For me, I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna do 15 on each side, because I don't have 2 dumbbells to use. You want to focus on retracting your scapula, so shoulders down and back, like you're trying to put them in your pocket. Start the lift with your elbow, not pulling with your hand, but imagine that you're a marionette and you've got a string on your elbow that's pulling your arm up. The same tension on the other side. There we go. So for the rows, I'm going to use a kettlebell. My work was nice enough to let me borrow one. You can also use a band if you have it, or again with the rice bags. If you're using a band, spread your feet to make more resistance. Slight bend at the knee, hinge at the hips, chest is nice and high, your back is straight, and you're rowing your elbows up so that your hands reach your ribs. Or the kettlebell version, I'm going to do these single-handed. If you see this here, so I'm going to lean one hand on the counter. The same leg of the hand that's leaning is forward, and my back leg is back at hip width. And again, I'm just pulling from the elbow up to the ribs, feeling that contraction in my lats. So back into our push-ups. if you can't do these on your feet, doing them on your knees is fine, so long as you maintain a nice tight plank. The problem that a lot of people get into when they're on their knees is they're bent at the hips. So you see how I'm bent here and they just go down like this. That's not what you want. You want to be straight in a plank, coming down nice and tight. Your core is engaged. I find an easier progression for this for a lot of people, rather than going from the knees, is to go on an incline. So like off your countertops, for example. So yeah, if you don't have full push-ups on the ground yet, start on an incline. It teaches you that plank a lot better than being on your knees does. But I'm gonna see how many I can get from my feet again. I'm gonna try for 10, probably do 10. So I'm going to finish off with some abs. After that, I'll show you guys some stretches. It's good to do not only after your workout, but especially a lot of us are going to be working from home, sitting down, probably not doing give us some stretches to really open our hips back up, open our back up, so we don't regret that desk posture that a lot of people get, like desk goblins. So we'll do the abs now. After that, I'll throw in some stretches that we can do. If you want a dedicated stretch workout or a dedicated stretch stream, I can do that as well. Just let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy, especially if you tell me what your tight areas are, what your problem areas are. I can write up a program for that for everybody. So we're on the ground again for the toe tap sit-ups. You're gonna be kind of like this. Legs down. One hand reaches up to touch the opposite foot, getting your shoulders off of the ground.
So you see my shoulder comes off the ground each time. If you can't actually touch your toe, that's fine. Just get as close as you can. All right, so we're gonna turn over for the pike jacks. We're gonna be in a plank, okay? You're just going to kick your legs back and forth like jumping jacks in that plank, keeping your core nice and tight. Trying not to let your hips rise up too much or sag down. You're just keeping that tight core the entire time, okay? Let me know if this is hard to see. It's a little tricky. I only have the one stationary camera set up right now. So, nice plank. Away from our head. finish off with a few stretches. They're going to be really good for, like I said earlier, Those of us who are going to be sitting down a little bit more now these home isolation days, it's really important to keep your hip mobility, keep your upper back strong, keep your thoracic mobility, thoracic being your torso. So you really want to be able to still twist as much as you can and not get into that like desk posture or the like slumped into the couch posture. So we're just going to do some stretches now that are going to really help keep all of that stuff open and moving. I'm actually going to take my shoes off for that. So from your knees, bring one foot forward until both of your legs are at 90 degrees. We're going to tuck our pelvis forward until you start feeling a stretch right here. So we're stretching our hip flexors, we're stretching our quads, and just keep pushing that forward until you feel that stretch. This is really going to be good to keep your body and your hips loose, especially when they get compressed from being sitting down. So for those of us who are still going to go to the gym when all of this is over, you don't want to lose any of that mobility that you have. So just keep pressing forward, release it just to rest, and then tuck forward again. Now if you want a nice lateral line stretch for that too, nice QL stretch, psoas stretch, you're going to put your hand over your head, point your fingers away from you. We're going to turn our chest out, still flexing our hips forward. You should feel a stretch here and here. Then we'll just switch sides. So flexing the hips forward until you feel that stretch right here. And then release it. Stretch forward again. That hand over your head, pointing your fingers above you, twisting your chest open, really pointing that hand. And if you need to get more of a stretch out of it, just take this hand and twist yourself open by pressing against your knee. Stand back up. So another one that I really like doing stretches the glutes, stretches the hip flexors. The way I like to get into this is from down dog. Just bring one foot up, tuck the knee towards your chest, bring it down onto the ground, and as much as you're able to do. Now I can go really deep in this. I know a lot of people can't right away, and that's fine. So you're just going to press your hands against the ground, push yourself up while pressing this leg and this pelvis into the ground, chest nice and high. You're going to feel a stretch again in the hip flexor of that extended leg. Then we're going to walk forward, resting ourselves on the ground, trying to get as low as you can. And you're going to start to really feel that stretch in this glute, this hamstring. And if you can get all the way to the ground, put your head down. We're just going to hang out here until everything feels a little bit loose or until you get bored. And then to get out of it, just walk your hands back up. If you want to get a little bit more out of this, a quad stretch on the rear leg. If you can, take that foot up, grab it with your hand, and then pull your toes towards your back.
It's a really deep stretch in the quads. And then to get up out of it, tuck this foot down, press your hands to the ground, just lift yourself up, back into down dog, and then we get into it the same way on the other side. And then just the same thing repeated over here. So you see now that I'm on this side, you see I'm really pressing this down into the ground, feeling that stretch through the hip flexors, the adductors. Chest is nice and high, so I'm not folded down. I'm pressed up as much as I'm able to be. And then hands forward. And so you'll notice with this, and with any unilateral stretch that we do, unilateral meaning one side versus the other side, everybody has one side that's more flexible than the other and one side that's just shittier at things than the other side is. So if you notice that on one of your sides you're able to get a lot deeper than the other side, that's absolutely normal. We all have a dominant side without even noticing it. And the point of these unilateral movements is to bring up the weakness in the weak side so that it matches the dominant side as much as we're able to. And up again. If you want to get that quad stretch, toe up, grab your toe, and pull your foot towards your back, chest up again as much as possible. You don't want your chest coming down. And then again, we get out of that same way. Can walk all the way up. Do a bit of a thoracic stretch here. You might be surprised at how hard this is to do, especially if you don't work on your mobility very much. A lot of people find this to be particularly difficult, but it's really good to do so that you get that flexibility throughout your torso, especially when we're sitting down and we're compressing our hips and we're compressing our spine. It's easy to do, and you'll notice the gains in mobility pretty quickly if you continue to do this every day. If you even do this twice a day, you'll notice each time you try and do it, it's going to just get easier and easier, and you're going to get more range of motion and more mobility throughout that spine. So you're going to lay down on your back, flop your knees to one side. All right, so your arm is shoulder length, straight in front of you. So is the other arm. Now your bottom leg is going to straighten out. You're going to put this knee down here, and you're just going to open your hands up like a book. You're going to keep your chest up towards the sky as much as you're able to. Try and work on twisting your head to look at the hand that's over here. You're going to get more of a stretch that way. If you notice that your knee is coming off the ground and you really want to feel that stretch a little bit more, just put this hand on that knee and you get more of a stretch right here. Now try to breathe deeply through this too. It's stressful for a lot of people, and by that I mean stress on the body, so you start to breathe really shallowly. But you really want deep, relaxed breaths. The more you can relax your breathing into this, the easier it's going to get. And for those of you who do have the mobility to get this deep, your next progression will be to try and press this shoulder actively into the ground. So that's how you're going to get more of a stretch out of this, by trying to press this shoulder into the ground as much as possible.
get out of it. Rolling over, resetting yourself. If you try and just roll out of that in any which way, you're probably going to pull something or it's going to be really uncomfortable. So just try and get out of it the same way that you got into it. So we're going to do the other side. So same thing, this leg is straight, this knee is bent, arms at shoulder length, and we just open up like a book. I can already tell this side is worse for me. Yeah, this side is so much worse for me. Okay. So if you're wondering where you're going to feel this, mostly here. So on the one side that you're bending. All right, and so another stretch for the hamstrings and for the glutes. You're going to cross one leg so that your ankle is on top of the knee of the opposite foot. This is called a figure 4 because it makes a 4. You're going to take your hands and grab yourself by the leg that's bent here. So some people can only grab down here, some people can grab up here, wherever you're able to grab. If you can't get your leg fully around, or if you can't get your hand fully around your leg, you can feel free to use a towel to help you. So just loop a towel around your leg so that you can get that nice stretch. But what we're going to do is pull this knee towards our chest. So until you start to feel a stretch in the glute of this leg and the hamstring of this leg. Just stay here for as long as you feel like it. I'm not particularly tight here today, so I'm going to switch pretty early and then just switch the same way. Other side. This one's worse. I'm even feeling this one in my adductor. I can feel this one everywhere. And so the more you fight these stretches, and by that I mean like breathing shallowly or holding your breath, the harder it's going to be. So really, like I know everybody says it, just focus on your breathing, breathe deeply. It also is going to activate your sympathetic nervous system, so you're going to start to relax. So the shallow breathing is really bad for when you're stretching. You activate your parasympathetic nervous system, so that's like your fight and flight, and you don't want that, so that you're like really tensing yourself up when you do. If you can force yourself or train yourself to just do very deep, relaxed breaths, you're going to be able to relax into these stretches a lot more. All right. I'm gonna probably take off right now so I can hit a meal and a shower because I feel pretty gross. But I'll be back at 1:30 tomorrow for sure for more workouts. Like I said, comment or DM me if you have any like equipment that you want to use or like areas you want to target.
If you enjoy this stuff and you want just more like stretching, whatever it is, nutrition information, I'm happy to help. I'm gonna try and grow this like every day, just do a little bit more. Really want to like get people's feedback and opinions on like what they want to get out of this, because it's not just me working out. Like this is my job, and I really do want to help people, especially those who like work out and go to the gym for their mental health. You know, it's like a anxiety producing time for a lot of people right now. So the more active we can be, the better. The more we can get our fitness levels up, so that when we have to go into Fallout mode or the Purge mode or Mad Max mode, that we have the best apocalypse team possible. Everybody will be safe. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm really glad that everybody liked it. Thank you again for those who commented, those who donated. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying it, and I really want to continue doing this to help everybody out. And like I said, I want to build a community in this. So if you have specific areas that you want to target, or questions, or equipment, or nutrition, whatever, like let me answer your questions. I'll do the best I can, and so that we can all stay physically and mentally fit in these uncertain times. All right, so I'll be back later on for some gaming, probably Apex, but I'm gonna hit a meal right now and take a shower and just chill out for a bit. So hope everybody has a great afternoon, and for those of you who'll be back, I'll see you guys later. Bye now.